All right, listen up, developers and team leads. Welcome to this urgent forensic security explainer. We have a highly escalated supply chain attack actively unfolding right now. The threat actor behind the Mini Shai-Hulud campaign is back, and what we're dealing with today is no longer just some localized, easily patched issue. It's a mutating NPM worm purposefully built to compromise your modern build systems and developer environments. In this briefing, we're going to break down exactly how this worm operates, why your standard security safeguards might actually be failing you, and the absolutely crucial steps you have to take to secure your infrastructure. Okay, let's dive into this as a logical post-mortem analysis of an active threat. We're covering the Mini Shai-Hulud escalation, the anatomy of the infection, the trusted publishing illusion, how the worm actually propagates, scanning for malicious markers, and finally, secret rotation and recovery. Section 1. The Mini Shai-Hulud escalation. 169. That is the number of legitimate-sounding NPM package names this worm has infected. And within those 169 packages, security teams have detected 373 malicious version entries. We're not talking about obscure, barely used libraries here. This wave has heavily targeted critical, widely used developer tools across namespaces like TanStack, UiPath, and even Mistral AI. If your team is building modern JavaScript applications, especially using routing and full-stack React tooling, the blast radius of this attack is literally sitting right on your doorstep. And this brilliantly illustrates how the threat has evolved. If you remember the previous wave hitting SAP packages back in April, well, that was way smaller in package count. It looked more like manual bad publishing, relying on files like setup.mjs and execution.js. But this current TanStack wave? Total game changer. It's a massive escalation. We are looking at a fully automated worm designed to actively run inside your build systems. It utilizes a brand new obfuscated payload called router_init.js, and instead of relying entirely on NPM, it pulls from GitHub dependencies. It's a faster, smarter, and just significantly more aggressive mutation hitting developer environments. Section 2. Anatomy of the infection. Let's pull back the curtain on this silent execution. How does this actually get onto a dev's machine or a CI runner? Well, the execution flow happens during the seemingly harmless act of running an NPM install. First, a developer or CI system installs a compromised package. Within that package tarball, there's a new obfuscated file sitting at the root called router_init.js. Second, the compromised package triggers an optional dependency, and crucially, one that points directly to a GitHub-hosted package, like @tanstack/setup. Third, because NPM runs lifecycle scripts for Git dependencies during installation, it triggers a prepare script inside that GitHub repository. And finally, that script quietly reaches back and executes the obfuscated router_init.js payload. Honestly, the user has absolutely no idea it's happening. Now check out the silent failure trick the attackers implemented here. At the end of that malicious prepare script, they append end exit1. Why? Well, because this is an optional dependency. By intentionally failing out at the very end, it disguises the malicious execution as a standard, totally benign optional dependency failure right there in the console. It makes the installation look way less suspicious to the developer. But by the time NPM treats it as failed and just moves on, the malicious code has already executed. The damage is done. Section 3. The trusted publishing illusion. Let's shift over to the CI/CD environment. Here is a provocative question for all the DevOps engineers out there. Why on earth do provenance records fail to stop this? We've been told over and over that trusted publishing and provenance guarantees that a package comes from a verified, clean source, right? So how are these attackers bypassing it so easily? The answer lies in this fundamental truth, and I really want you to let this sink in. Provenance can tell you where the package was built. It does not prove the build was safe. Provenance confirms the package came from the expected GitHub Actions workflow. But if that very workflow is compromised and executing attacker-controlled code during the build process, well, the provenance record will be perfectly valid, effectively rubber-stamping malware. Which leads us right into OIDC token abuse. In the past, attackers hunted for stolen, long-lived NPM tokens. Trusted publishing was supposed to fix that by removing long-lived tokens entirely. But guess what? This worm doesn't even need them. When the malicious code runs inside your CI workflow, it simply uses the environment's own OpenID Connect permissions, the very system designed for secure, passwordless authentication, to mint a brand new, perfectly valid, short-lived published token right there on the spot. It's essentially using your own highly secure automated system to forge the keys to the kingdom. Section 4. How the worm propagates. Let's move to and see how this builds, tracking the chronological life cycle of this weaponized release access. This is why it's a mutating worm, not just a standard info stealer. Step 1. The payload executes and extracts your CI/CD and developer credentials. Step 2. It doesn't just send them to a server. It uses those local tokens to actively query what other packages the victim has published access to. Step 3. It actively modifies those package archives to eject that malicious optional Git dependency. Step 4. It silently bumps the package version number. And Step 5. It uses your access to push this new compromised package back to NPM, turning the victim into the very next vector of infection. It spreads like wildfire.
And the blast radius of what this bun-based payload is looking to extract is severe. It is aggressively targeting GitHub personal access tokens, NPM tokens, and those OIDC tokens we just talked about. But it goes way deeper than that. It is scraping for AWS credentials and instance metadata, Kubernetes service account files, HashiCorp Vault tokens, and local Vault endpoints. Basically, anything sitting in your environment variables or local file system secrets is entirely up for grabs.
Section 5. Scanning for malicious markers. Moving into the containment phase, if you're a team lead or security engineer, here are the actionable steps you need to take right now. You need to execute a lock file and cache scan immediately. First, audit your dependencies for these specific namespaces, @10stack, @squawk, @UiPath, and @mistrolli. Second, run a deep search for the payload files themselves, router_init.js and tanstackrunner.js. Third, check for any optional dependencies pointing to @tanstack/setup or strange GitHub hashes. And finally, you absolutely must audit your CI logs. Look for any unexpected execution of bun during an NPM install or optional dependency failures involving that setup package. If you see outbound connections during install or strange OIDC token requests in your GitHub actions, you have an active breach. Section 6. Secret rotation and recovery. If you found any of those markers, you must transition instantly to a comprehensive recovery plan, assuming total compromise. So the crucial point is this. Simply rotating your NPM tokens is not going to cut it. Because of the payload's massive extraction targets, you have to assume total credential compromise. You must immediately burn and rotate all NPM publishing access, all GitHub personal access tokens, and all GitHub Actions secrets. You have to rotate your cloud environment credentials, invalidate any Kubernetes service account tokens on exposed clusters, and reissue HashiCorp Vault tokens in deployment secrets, the whole shebang. To summarize this briefing, you must treat any developer machine, any local environment, and any CI/CD runner exposed to these packages as fully compromised. Do not trust a clean provenance record as proof of safety, and do not resume normal operations until a full secret rotation and an audit of recent publishes is complete. The Mini Shai-Hulud worm proves that attackers are no longer just guessing passwords. They are structurally weaponizing the very CI pipelines and automation tools we literally built to stay secure. It leaves us with one terrifying question you have to ask yourself right now. Are your build systems actually building what you think they are?